So being 5:30 on January 5th, we're going to call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. So it was all Stevie, and Barney, and Jenny, sure is on her way, and I'm going to be there. First item on the agenda tonight is a presentation by Don Hyde and Peter Adams. They're from EDP Marketing. Both Ron and I have worked with these gentlemen before. It's amazing what they can do to you. John?
Thanks for having us. We presented to your development committee, I did, and a couple weeks ago, and I'll say the same thing that I said to them is that we have a lot of different things we can do for you, but the first thing that you need to do is determine, and maybe it's not tonight necessarily, but what do you want to accomplish? What's the goal that you're trying to do? So EDP has a very quick history. We're 31 years old as of January 17th. We started out as a media company doing video production and media, transitioned to marketing about 15 to 20 years ago, when we are sort of doing that anyway for our clients. So it went into websites, into branding, into all the different things that a marketing campaign would need. And today, basically, we are a holistic marketing company, and we say we fill the gaps as to what you need. So we look at what the goal is, as far as do you want to just raise the elevation of the town to make it more attractive to businesses or whatever. Do you want to just put out a nice video that has a certain message? Do you want to do? What do you want to do? And then we come up with a plan to do that. Not tonight, and not, if you basically say, I want to bring in 6 new businesses, we go and create the plan for that, present it to you, and then you say, yes, we want to do this, or we don't. So that's how this works. But, last week we spoke a lot of stuff about a couple weeks ago, and a lot of it was you didn't really know what you needed to do or where you want to elevate. But, it could be a campaign to bring in new businesses, a new branding campaign so that you get to look like, a town that people might want to come live and work and that kind of thing. And so I sort of put it to you as to what it is that you're thinking, what is it that you're looking to try to do? Okay.
Well, we're going to have to come up with a priority.
Correct. Right, and so I mean, the way we would approach this, is let's say you would say, we need a new presence out there, we need a new website that really sells the attributes of the area. We need a new logo, a new reel to record business. And we need to put something together. What we would say is, what are the tools you need to do to get them? You need a website, you need brochures, you need a package to get the businesses. What is it? And that we would work with maybe for you guys to sort of come up with what do you want, and then what are the best tools to do and to get that accomplished. We've done a lot of video work, as you know, but that's just because a lot of people want video, and but it could be a brochure, a packet. Right now, we have motorcycle recall stores at home. We're putting together a packet for them to try to raise more money for them. We put together reports, we put together brochures, but all with that idea of looking who you are, what you are as a town, and holistically putting that together into a packet of things that you can use, tools that you can use to raise the bar. We are not the people to go out and knock on doors for you. We're the ones that can create the tools for you to do. But it's we sit down with a committee, one of the first things we generally do is we might go out and survey your residents, survey the people in the town, and try to determine what the brand looks like right now. What do people think about when they think about Ashland? And then from that, help develop a brand, what we call brand discovery. You already have a brand. We've got to discover the brand to let people how they see it, and then from there tweak that. We don't want to redo the whole thing. We don't want to go against what people already believe unless it's a negative. Which we don't want to promote. But we basically put together a brand and then from that use those materials to discover whatever it is. So you can find us at abcmarketing.com as our website. Again, what I would like to hear from you, if you were to want to work with us or a company like ours, is to go and say, this is what we want to accomplish. We put together a plan that could possibly do that. We all agree that there's a good chance of that working, and we go from there. So there's no commitment at all until we sort of get an idea of whether this is possible or not.
Any questions from the board?
How about the capital?
Right.
My question is, what are the capabilities of helping us reach that particular stage? When we say credit card, we get the credit card, how to secure market time, what are you doing to open up crystallize that brand?
Well, there's two different ways to do it. If you were 1810 and you're incorporating this town and you wanted a brand, that's a brand development. We need to come up with who we want to be. And what the brand is, as we know what the brand is the space that you occupy in someone's mind. So basically, Delta Airlines, I have a certain idea of what Delta Airlines is like. And that sits up here. You may have a different idea. Hopefully, it's crystallized into the same thing. With us, you already have a brand. So you have a name, you've been incorporated for a long time, you've been here for a long time. So what we basically do, what we very often do is we do a survey, and some of the things on the survey are give us 10 words that describe, singular words that describe us. We see if there's continuity there. We see if there's things that people, only the positive ones, but the things that people are zeroing in on. From that, we find the top 10 words and then the top 3 words. And again, we don't have to go with the actual numbers of these words, but these are where the ideas come. And then from there, we basically put together there's a whole bunch of things for the brand statement, the brand attributes, the brand promise. And we talked about this last time, which is we basically start with the brand promise. And as opposed to the brand attributes. The brand promise, I'll give you an example of, I think last time I gave you the camp. So camp, the brand attributes are, of course, if you have the kind of scope, you have flower stream, you have all the different things. Brand promise is the joy is what you achieve from the brand. And that's a much more powerful thing to sell by. So we would try to find out what brand attributes there are in Ashland, the mountains, and lakes, or what are the feelings that people get from doing this, from participating in this area. Discover that, and that gives us the catalyst to start talking about how we might want to form this thing. The big thing that we see people doing, if Geico would have changed their name right now, it would be disaster. You know what I mean? So if Geico wants to do any of this stuff, they're going to go out and find out how people perceive Geico right now and move with that. You do not want to stop the ship and start again. So the first thing we have to do, again, is find out what people believe, and then we tweak that to come up with the colors and the feel and we can create logos for you, we can create brand names for you, all of the stuff that goes into this, which then we put into what we call brand work, which becomes the bottom.
How do you break that up? Globally, the brand, project in itself.
Yeah, it's all part of one big project. Correct. So
we need to have the big problem where we like to get perspective on what that would be.
Right.
And then how do you keep up with it?
Correct. And there's a whole other side of this as to how do you get that information out there. But it all happens at the same time. What's deliverable is the brand book. And in the brand book, it basically shows the imagery of who you are, the brand statements, the brand attributes, the brand promise, the logo, the colors, everything that would go into this. There's a first draft of that, there's a second draft of that, a third draft of that, as many drafts as you need. And then again, you have a big constituency. We've got brands for, again, free camps. They're owned by a family. There's 7 people that can make it happen. And some campers and a committee of other people, but we need 20. We have to come up with something that works for a number of people out there. Everybody out there. Selling. Right. Correct.
I think would be very interesting. Somebody can get to it.
And
look at it. Here's some positive things that you guys think about yourself. Here's some things like people say that maybe only one person can come to it.
Right, and so we do that, but we tend to consider that play. We sort of put it around and mold it. We don't push it. We don't. It's you guys that are really going to have to love this and live with it and live with it for a long time. You don't want to do a brand and change it in a year. You want to live with it for a long time. So it's honestly, generally, it's very often the imagery of what happens in a town. You want me to start all over? I can ramble on first. I'm not enough. You just totally. But basically, we want the consensus, and we want this. But basically, it has to. I think back to everyone has to sort of get on board, and that's a campaign in itself to get the town to like it. And this is at 4th of July. There's a booth. There's a whole bunch of things to get people behind it. Because, as an example, if you go to Lincoln right now and you go into Gordy's, and at the bar at Gordy's, there's probably 3 people that work on the lift that are sitting at the bar that are the best salesmen that there exist. And if they are on board, if the employees, the salespeople, everyone are on board, if they're not, they can be the worst. It can be a huge negative. Yeah. But it's basically let's let everyone speak and let's let everyone have a say. And there's probably a pretty good consensus all around. I think that you guys can create something that you can be really proud of for this. Because you have, we were talking about this today, we also have New Hampshire Music Festival at the time. And back from the day a couple years ago, it's been fun to help bring them back. And we had a great year this year. But we were talking about, just in a meeting, is there any place else we could ever do this? We would ever do this. Plus it has a certain feel to it, whatever. What about Concord? What about the Tony has a theater? What about there? And they said, the musicians will never come. They won't come. We'll never be able to do it anyway. I mean, maybe they're going to come right from somewhere in the world, but they're not going to come from Oklahoma and go to Concord. They're not going to do it. And so you have a place where you know, we just have to sort of get all these unbelievable attributes and the feelings that you get when you come here into the statements, into a document. That then what we call the brain book of the Bible. That's everybody that makes a decision along the line going forward is using that to add to long after we're gone.
How long was that consultation?
6 months. Probably 6 months, 8 months. Probably. Just to, one is we do a deep dive into sort of we go look at social, we go look at a lot of different things, and we sort of try to get about as to where things go before we send out a survey, and then that survey is sort of based on that. You know, so what we sort of have certain areas that we want to tackle to get rid of bad vibes, and we have areas that we want to tackle to accentuate the good vibes, and then again, you have a lot of things that happen in this town. There's rumors of a big operation that could be coming. I just really don't know. But so those are logistical things, and we don't get involved with those unless they have a marketable application. You know what I mean? If you're going to put in a store, we don't care unless it's going to have a positive or negative thing. The logistical stuff we don't get involved with, but we do touch on that stuff. But so over that 8 months, we're just trying to gain continuity and acceptance of the brand ideas. And once that's determined, we present it in a big way to the town, you know, in a big forum, and we say these are the colors, and this is how they feel. Go out and spread the word. And use what you can use to talk about this kind of stuff.
Like you said, there are things that are great things, and then there are some some things that some people think it's not as like it's so you don't want to look at it, it's not. Yeah. So you want to emphasize the good things, but are we also looking at when we do this year, we're hoping to be in a couple of years?
Well, you know, absolutely. And so when you create the brand, this is the portion of the person's mind that you want to. This is the idea you want to put into their head. And so there's an idea that's already in their head. And it's a relatively tough thing to reverse that. If you had a bad experience.
There's just some of some people, young ones, and there's so much opportunity for so many different things here.
Yeah.
That people don't even think, and it's like, we don't want to change what's here, but change the mindset. Like, okay, there's a whole poor thing, but we don't have high employment, we don't have high welfare, we don't have any of that.
Right.
Okay? So, how do you change that?
Well, we have. We're not doing it.
I know.
No.
I know,
but it is a slow shift. It's not, yeah. It's just overnight, and I'm trying to remember who it was. We had another company give us a brand statement, a new brand that we were working with, and they were a client of ours, and so we had to follow their brand going forward. And when we got done the presentation, John and I both said, wow, that didn't do anything for us. It did not change. I mean, they did not address any of the negatives. I think if you just keep hammering on the positive over time, well, keep in mind something. You have your citizens who are here who we need to make into your best answer. So that's one task. We also have 7 billion people out there that we need to talk to. Correct. And so there's in a sense, two different audiences. So the audience out there that doesn't know anything about it, that's a relatively big audience. Where they don't know anything about it, we have the opportunity to get them to know. The people around here, we just, the biggest fear would be to create a brand that when someone comes into town with a certain idea about brand, that the people of the town do not think about that brand. I always use the time examples. If you have an airline that's behind the skies and the baggage people cleaning everybody every day, that's a real problem with the brand. So it's an education of the local area. I think the greatest way to get people to be with you and to be your salespeople down here is to get them involved in any way they want to get involved. And if someone is really passionate about this, let's get them ready to come. Let's get them to at least be heard as to what is happening and to move them. Because now possibly become $5 times for what? You know, it's better out now than out there. So, but it is a closure. And you know, there's a whole bunch of decisions that need to be made. One of the things is we've talked, according to the people we've talked to like this, we've talked about it. Don't do it. I mean, you're good. You've got a pretty good solid foundation. You got a little problem there, a little problem there, a little problem there. Do these things to offense. Just go do that. There's possible rush, along with a nice little, you know, cleaning up and helpful. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is very often the Chamber of Commerce ones. Right. I mean, you do have a reasonable one, but you don't have you. And so that's who generally we would be working with to create a website and to create that visual. And what I often see Chamber of Commerce doing is being a little bit too big, not pro-business, that's the wrong word, but you know, they're not pro-tourism. And so I see a real need for our reach of how beautiful this area is, and all the things we have to offer. And again, the feeling that you get when you come here and you experience this has been, it's a very simple, you know, easy thing to do. It's supported by the town, and whether it's a committee of the town, you don't report to the town. You know, it's a town already, but maybe. So it's just a slightly different animal working with the town, which is exciting, actually. We work with a lot of towns, we work with, you know, working with stuff, we work with water valleys, we work with, you know, a number of things which are the connections for that. But it's fun to have a powerful call. So you guys come up with, you say, this is what we like to achieve. We want to raise our look. We want to attract more tourism. We want to attract more businesses. These things, they all may be little campaigns, or they all could be slow as they learn. But the first thing is to sort of get your listeners to do it. The idea of it. Again, please go to our website, easyteammarketing.com. Look that over. See what we've done. And Ron will tell you more. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is waiver of municipal right over here. Local building inspector. So we have got a pending building permit application for Island Acre Road, which is not a town-owned road. It's technically only maintained by the department, but it's not considered a privately owned road. So under the statute, anybody wishing to build on a private road needs to sign a waiver by facilities, that can go for instance, also needs to be approved by the board of selectmen and signed by the board of selectmen. The legislature has changed the behavior effective July 1st, and that's that the board in the county anyway, you have no say in it. Actually, the past years from a lot of legislative changes that take a lot of local controllers or something. It's going to streamline the process in this instance. I don't necessarily see the action. But this doesn't require the engagement of I really just not too often called for all the planning board, and the planning board is making a recommendation to the board of selectmen. So I think it's the best. Any questions? That's what you could sign on the copy of. I'll have a copy here if you want to keep one here in the file. And then I'll get it to the property owner. And found it and notarized and recorded and everything. So I'll make a motion that we waiver from this liability. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Your signature comes with my the property owner itself. I'll take the home and oh yeah. And then once it's recorded, then we'll do it. Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is discussion with the police hearing on mattress issue. Right?
Yeah.
talking about? What are we talking about?
Well, it's something very good. So, if you truly want to keep it recycling, keep that right, everything goes through. And that's another conveyor. So, go crossways and out the house, take all the metal up and stuff. That's the hot right there, everything goes through. Oh, so, the purpose of burning it off is one to let them know the stress that you need to be more efficient and more efficient. And the container, all you can do is where you get to it. And you don't separate that metal, or you can buy them run metal. And it's just like construction debris, it all goes through there and gets packed into the floor like you can throw. What's that like, $25 a stick? 330 just for thread. So if you can use thread, but increase the thread, it's okay.
How many ounces is the minimum? I think you got
Right, but then we're not getting that. It's only for that 30,000 now.
well, yeah. That's a big move. That's a fun job. It's fun. Kind of like, people can handle it. You get up to 35, 40 bucks, it's like, they're not going to put things in it. Or, everything's done. That's it. Requires it to be really thinking and making the thing. And I think most guys
That's a lot.
Okay, next item on the agenda, discussion about EDC and waterfront redevelopment grant.
Okay, we did not, okay, and I don't really have anything to say, but, there's been discussion because we wanted to go through the warrant article comment, and we need to do community outreach to explain to people what it is, how to do, so they understand what we're talking about, because there is a one article for the master plan. Yeah, it was, housing, from what I understand, offers to host to make those kind of structures. And, wanted to talk about that offer. Andy has expressed concerns on whether we can limit it to short, very close to these non-government, non-government facilities. And so that would be a good thing to figure out. So as we go forward, with the desire and needs to be connected to setting the informational sector and what we can do to get to be measured and what we want everybody to be comfortable with this. So moving forward, I think this is personally, I think this is a really good project for community development. development, I think is really nice things that can be done funnel. But we want everybody to be comfortable with what's going on and give us the clear direction of what would be acceptable.
But we look on the first
I don't know, and I laugh how much he's already been advertisement of this or not, because I didn't know. I don't want to start. We don't want to confuse people. There are a lot of communities going on right now because we're getting so close to when the voting is. Yes. We are going to have other information in the meeting more than one. So I guess the question is, one is that usually our council is to do this, and then when they're leaving the not, the board supportive of having these things like here you have one there, maybe if you want to go and businesses think it's okay, and that's maybe a common there with the post, but I don't know. So just throwing that out, it's a question of the legality. I need to know what does the board want.
One thing that you feel very project forward. I think we'll be cautious in doing something there that is you can be careful with the optics of
Talking about county property. Well,
it's just so wonderful, you know, it's,
Yeah, but that's not really what made the practice. You're not interacting with the thinking. But I think it's important to keep that on looking at it. And I think that's really what this thinking is.
If that has to happen, it has to happen. But I think we want to promote development in the county, which means promoting the businesses who are already here, not just the ones who are hoping to be here, but the ones that are here. And I know I've done this with our state rep where periodically have regularly put together meetings over the common man and we're in the room and I know why we have Robert, a couple people might have had conflict with this, what is his agenda or whatever, and they just give it to them. And they won't ask anything. And I would, when it's like, maybe the landscape place comes somewhere who wants to host something so people can see what they do and it's a way of promoting and if they do it, you're involved in the community. You got the larger community. Right, we should be involved because hopefully, I think we can do it within our website and people haven't did it or they did that with their name. It's like, what are you guys doing? We're doing all this. This is a relatively new restaurant, and I would never move in there because it's on the other side of town. And, it's but I'll go to Bridgewater anyway from the next town. It's just kind of, getting people there. So, if it's legal and if we do it for everybody, so there's no give and take. I mean, the community has they have no authority to do anything. There's no authority to operate. And so I personally believe if we can get anybody who's got something going on in town who wants to do something we can do. I personally, but it has to be legal, and I understand that we don't want anything that looks like I told before in my past life. You would say if it smells bad, even if it's legal, if it smells bad, we don't do it because it undermines confidence, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure everything is uphold. And I'm wondering, this committee and the other committees, and we're going on this before that we wanted all the committees to televise so people could see that. Not out in public, and then that's great for disseminating more information. For disseminating more information. know for
I was fine, still low. And then you came and we're not gonna have to do.
And that's what we need, because we can't put this down in a bad
Part of it is not like the owner. That's it.
But if I could be postponed and move on, so ideally, I mean, we will have to do it, that's right. I mean, I would like to go for ideal cases to see if we can do it. If we can't, we can't. Ideally,
We put it on
can we hold on there now if people are taking it?
and then,
And
if people say, well, I recommend this, then, you know,
well, I think do we need to vote?
and just compare what we wanted. Depending on the outcome, we can have issues and get further balance.
We have to go. We have to see if this is okay. I don't know. Okay, who's okay? So this meeting is about the maximum grant. Then explain to people why we haven't done that already, not just because there's a timeline that we need to announce. So, there is a plan, but the plan was put together without any specifics in all. Nothing happened all goes in line, the first thing that has to do is getting the plan from the engineer of what we can and can't do, and based on that, then my anticipation is drawing and we go back around talking to everybody, okay, we've got this as a given from the engineering side, okay, so now what do we need to go back of? What should be, what should it be, where should it be, and what kind of things
We don't say with that fund, and you want to work with it, what's kind of additional idea is consistent. I don't want to be part of it. Ending the presentation, so you can make it. I feel like we can take it to be a
and I understand it, and so I think how everything is like, the more people you talk to, everybody has a different idea of what maybe this could be or that's there, and so it's kind of changed, and there may be so many things that we come back and get people together and say, okay, what's important to the most amount of people, because there's a lot of different ideas. Because what you can put in, so first of all, we have to get the money. We have to have the environmental study with the whole beach thing and the erosion thing, and that's number one. Without that, we can't do anything.
We have to know what we can do. And what we can't do.
Right. Because DEF has to approve it.
DEF is the only one that has to approve it.
Right, but that's, I mean, if they don't
The
approve
Board
it,
of Engineers is in there too.
just one second. But there might be others. I mean, not just that one, because you've got a short time frame, and, there might be others. This is the way to have that informational thing. But the more we have, the more opportunities we have to get information out. We have to meet people where they are. So that we really need each other.
Within the board is right now.
Okay, that's fine. Within the board is right. Yeah.
or you would like that, or you would just put it. I'm a
So I have a motion on the floor, do I have a second? I have a motion on the second. Do we have any further discussion?
Just like the one people, I'm still being with people, we're going to go people who want to be just try to and all the people find me for whatever reason, you don't hold it for them. You show me that.
Some of the replication of representation I've seen it have already been poo-pooed by forward engineers.
Right.
It should have been on it probably. That's why we need this feasibility study.
The first drawing was done years and years ago. We get the conceptual possibilities, but what wasn't intended to be anyway, but for building. Now we're serious, we want to restruct them, so we're going to get all the necessary to check boxes and get it really.
I think that has to be wanting to get involved and he loves the place, you know, and he certainly deals with on a daily basis. I know what he needs, you know, to use everything to improve with the certain things that you want to have improve as well, you know.
We start down and remove anything. And show them the plan, and we can do it and the place to go. And so we have room for it, you know, getting rid of the bad life, the campground.
Well, in that place the way that
But I want to make sure the voters know what the plan is. The city plan.
you can't have a plan when you have a feasibility study that says you can do. My plan is to take that wall down that you can continue about 2 years. I can't go in there and do it until an engineer says, hey, we can do it. But this is how we got to do it. We need to get the feasibility study so that we can get there.
And I do know that County Joe is very concerned about us taking down the wall because he lives down the river. And you've got, so there are a lot of different concerns. What's there now is not working perfectly. So what we're looking to do here really is do the feasibility study, and so it's getting the public on board so we can do that. And if we get past that is step one. And if we get past step one, then we get into the next phase where there's going to be a lot of public outreach to come in, give us their ideas, what you want, and then there's going to be multiple layouts, and then you do it, people.
be discussed.
I understand that. My concern is just, I'd like to increase, I guess, the economic development in how it goes for Ashland.
So let's there's folks. I love it. And Cruz, we just put vote in. Have something I want to present. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I want to make a proposal that the Economic Development Committee and the Board of Selectmen put down discuss where we're going, how we're going to get there, and what we're going to do along the way. In general. We just need to find time and space to do it. It may not be a Monday night, and it may not be a Wednesday night. So be thinking about a date, and if there's a very agreeable, put down and have a work session. Do we need to vote on this? Do we have consensus? Ron? Okay. All right. So be thinking about it, and we'll try to pick a date at our next meeting. Things are getting busy. So the next thing on the agenda is error misunderstood, and you want to explain
donation. So it does not agree with what has happened in the Illinois and the Congress Department. We got a grant or they don't want to go to the school. So they can't get money, but they give us a grant for discuss with the kids of the after-school program or summer camp, anything to do with the kids in the department. And the amount that was on there is $960. That was what they would have decided to do is we are offsetting the pricing. It's at the same stage for the after-school program, and that was for the North End. Yeah, so it was, I think that the girls will have to this morning and they get them out and it's just all making the same because it didn't come into the after school program. Yeah, so they do that every month. They send summer camps on different trips that we may not be able to go to. If we went out to Kitchen this year, it's a summer camp we've done multiple weeks. Multiple vacations. Where do you have to be? Alright, we're going to start. Multiple field trips per week for the after school program. So, like, they also bought their vacations for summer camp and they like over $6,000 that they all set for each time of Ashland too. Yeah, what they're doing is it's a great contrast because there's some parents that would be able to do that, like the center for the movies and lunch and stuff. So it's a kind of more expensive trip that you may not be able to get to. But they're able to do that on beach trips and different things like that. So I think that's a quite a bit with the kids and parents and the after-school program and Christmas and that's something like that. So it wasn't something like the kids have to
Any questions? Next item on the agenda, we took a date to get the delivery session. Usually it's the first Saturday in February. The first Saturday in February is the 7th. The snow date is, would be the 14th. The 14th is Valentine's Day. The first one I look at it. It is usually Saturday because more people are working. So we've done 10 a.m. and we've done 4 a.m.
What day is that? What day is that?
7th and 14th. The 7th would be the primary, the 14th would be the snow day.
So I have in my phone already the 7th and 14th.
Yeah, we have to do that. So I'm going to make a motion that we have the delivery session on the 7th of February with a snow date of the 14th. 10 a.m. That is a motion in a second. Do you have any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a disbursement request that we have to sign. The disbursement was for the closing fees for the $2.2 million loan for the substation, and the total charge is $12,000. I'll make a motion to pay said fees. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah. The next item on the bag is we have to approve the transfer out of the CRF fund for road improvement, police pad, and the building maintenance and resource CRF. The road improvement was the GMI asphalt, I believe that's for the work down here. The police car CRF was for the garage that was just purchased. And the building maintenance was for the 20 is really up to the air. Yeah. I'll make a motion that we approve them. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So the next thing I have is the municipal property division equalization report. This is something that we do every year. And then so it's done. It's easy to read.
Where do the rents come from?
What it looks like. If you understand it.
You want me to sign it? So it tries to keep everything equal like the time that's not kind of well. That's an interesting
So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the equity form. And the motion is second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Motion carries. Yes. I have one last thing. We need to get his town report. Open to suggestions. Alfred? I have also heard some of the rainbow mentions with him. It's not the first time it's been. General consensus fine, we need a motion.
I just have a question. You know, to reach out to this technical knowledge system. How is that supposed to work? Okay. Which is all.
Do I have a second? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Anybody have any old business? Anybody have any new business? You do not have any non-public? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.